We've gone. It's Sunday. It's August the 30th, 2020. It's a bank holiday. Smash ya, smash ya, smash ya.
Live, live, live.
Here we are in the now time. How we doing? How do? You want to talk, Kev?
Good evening, everybody. Hope you're well. Have a good weekend. Because I know that, everybody's been hard at work for the last few months, so it's nice to have a bank holiday and an extra day off for you all there. No, I hope you're all well. And your families are and enjoying yourselves. And good to see you. Thanks for joining us. And here we are. Full of the joys of sprung.
Yes, I'm like to say we haven't really got a direction tonight. We just thought we should have been on last night, but we overdid it and we overcooked it, I will say. And we like to give you the best, so you may see that as a feeble excuse for no show yesterday. But we're here, full force, recharged, and I did a little video update for you today, merging of and alchemical corpus. 1 minute, Kev, I turned you down. Messing around with some.
Oh, that's so typical, that is.
Here we go.
See, Dave's even come in today. Well, to be fair, last night we did a couple of hours in the private, which is, we don't often run for that long in there. Hour and a half, but a couple of hours, and then it was, I think it was nigh on midnight when we actually finished talking to each other, didn't we? Just shortly after that, so it'd have been a bit late, to be honest, and we were a little bit jaded by then, not so enthusiastic. We've got to give you quality, people, not quantity.
Shadow, easy, fly. What? How we doing? Nice one, brothers. Jerry, I see you there underneath, actually. G-Man. Yes, so the thumbnail authority is a loose headline. Who we receive information and how we receive it. Is it through a validated government outlet that we expect it from, or is it normally off a media platform and it's a little bit of a shock, and then you hear it confirmed by the government agencies, applicable ones, department, and then minister, prime minister, ultimately to confirm or deny. So the way that we get information and valid, like these media platforms with their fact checkers and the policy of them and who funds them and etc., is equally as dirty as a mud wrestling session in Glastonbury on a wet September day. So we got the Illuminated initiates of Illumi-literate. Thanks for the help on that, Kev. It did take some time on that.
For what it was worth.
That's you lot. That's us. So we just come to say hello. What go on? What do you want to chat about?
Can I just fly, Jerry, Shadow? How you doing, mate? Shadow, especially. I hope you're all right, mate, and in getting out. Lisa, good evening, darling. How lovely to see you. James as well. It's all good. Here we are.
Yeah, I'm just going into the chat room now. We'll leave it for the room. Yeah, we'll see what's on people's minds, what's happening. We've got the return to the academies, trusts, schools on the horizon. Do you think it would be psychologically fair? Do you feel confident in the guidelines? Do you feel safe? Do you feel that the teachers are fully equipped and prepared? Things like this that are a realm-wide issue at the moment. What is being purported is that it is vanishingly rare for youth to be affected and suffer a mortality from this strain of disease, infection. So vanishingly rare, that's not very straightforward English. That's how I heard it on BBC Radio 4 in the morning, as said by some Secretary of Health, I believe. I can't quote who it was from, but I had to get Kev to help me translate that. It doesn't happen very often that little ones, but then little ones can go out and come back and be a carrier a special purpose vehicle for a virus, a strain of an infection that would then come back and, possibly, I don't know, I'm not an expert. It's not like we gave 100 scientists a sample of COVID-19 and said, you go away and work out what to do with that, and then whichever is the top 5 best results we'll go with. No, we didn't. We listened to a sage and medical specialist committee there with Whitty and officers came in and started running the ship. So we must react as chief scientific experts there, which clearly aren't experts. What? So any topics like that would be good. Sunday sessions are on. Any other questions or comments you've got? You did post a little bit of information in that video today for you. I hope you're not too saturated from that, and thank you for the praise, the response. It's about time we flip the script. Alchemies, it's a fun area, it's amazing. What can I say? The Hermeticals and bird-headed men, scribes, the god of the scribes. What a fitting god. Hung like a bird, that's all I can say.
I'm like a budgie.
Bird brain, I can see, I don't mind. It's Hermes and Thoth, father and son. There's a lot going on in the paradigm. It's called distraction. It's what I do to relax and to immerse in the liquid mercury thought potentiality. Finding out about Tesla, what he does, what he did, and other people going into lucid dreaming, DMT, and psychedelic professionals, the psychonauts. You got astronauts, you got these many types of nauts there, but the psychonauts, the mental ones that go out and explore the seas of the mental area, hardcore, mushroom connoisseurs. I salute you because you are braver than I on that respect, but one day I will see you on the far, far side of planet whatever, in the seas.
We're already on the far side. Just don't realise it yet. We're already there. We're in a different realm. I just would like to say, David sent me a very interesting little video just before we hooked up and started the broadcast about possession, which I thoroughly recommend you go and watch if you haven't had a good laugh for a while. Quality. Bob's your man, that's all I'm saying.
I'm researching if there are any videos with demonic possession, possessory rights, etc. So we have it was, I forget, what was it, Bob? Yeah, Bob Larson, I think he was called, of the Larson clan. The video was entitled Persian Woman's Demonic Apparition or something. Demonic demons speak and ancient languages going back to time of, and ancient Farsi, I believe, is what Bob picked up on there. It's that old. It's ancient.
Yes. Yeah, being the only one in the room that didn't speak it, and then the subtitles come up and said, "This is ancient Farsi." And all the people in this room speak Farsi, but none of them recognise this. But Bob did. It must be ancient Farsi.
It's there. There you go. I've put the link in. I'm researching them a little bit on the possessory side there. Exorcisms, haunted houses. It's going through the motions as it's brought to you. Things that we watch. Let's see if there's any questions or anybody who's popped in since. After Shadow and Fly, etc. Lisa. Straw man.
Yeah, Lisa's just saying CDC has now said 6,000 total COVID deaths. 6,000.
Shadow says 99% survival rate. There we go.
Yeah, it is. It's exactly what it is. I think it's 99.6 at a certain. The worst figure is for the over 60s, and that's still 99.4. Yeah, Lisa, I do believe that the official figure here, I've actually seen it go down a bit, but I'm going to stick with, it's about 1,279. Now, not long ago, they were talking 45, 50,000, which is our average flu loss. So there you go. We all know it's nonsense. There's no need to do. And let's for us, so some of us that are old enough to remember 1974 with the swine flu, where 60 million people were fucked. Excuse my French. So we've only got, even with the figures they were using worldwide of say something like 5 million, we've only got another 55 million to go to reach that. Did we get locked down in 74? Did anything happen? No. So it's all pointing to what we all know it is. A great big bag of bollocks.
2030 agenda. And
no, we must get an echo machine.
I'm stuck in an echo. Let's do the time warp. Shadow Dynamics says 45k turned up outside Trafalgar Square. Did they now? What did they achieve? What's gone down? What's changed? Was it worth it? Did they feed the crown revenue and play into the hands? Was it peaceful? Was it violent? Did we loot? Did we root? Or was it just a little old scoot? I don't know. Hit me up to boot.
What we like, as I coined yesterday, all the 45,000 out there with Ike the Kike.
Yeah. Strawman says vaccines are due for this October. Millions of minions will line up for their solution. Possibly, yes, I would agree. I've got a meme to go with that statement there. Strawman. Mia's in. Hello, Mia.
Yeah, hello, Mia. How you doing, Quinn?
You read that?
Strawman. JJ. I think we've said hello to everybody now. For the time being. 17 in. Thanks for joining us. To say nothing particularly planned, a bit like last night. We managed to drone on for 2 hours. But no, it was a good laugh last night. Just all ended a bit late for us to, if we come on to YouTube at midnight, we ain't gonna be getting off till 2, 3 in the morning.
Yeah, this is true.
And
true.
Yeah, and we lost a bit of enthusiasm. To be honest with you, I was faded a little bit by midnight last night. So Dave said, "Oh, I don't think I'll go on yet." I went, "Oh, brilliant, great." Like to be a little refreshed. Claire, how you doing?
I want to say yes to Strawman. Do any of you know about the banks and debt and national debt and GDP and quantitative easing? We are all up on our monetary mechanics. Strawman, well done to JJ. Have you got proof of claim for that? We don't. We might accept it. Doesn't mean to say we believe it. We are aware, though. I don't think proofs there needed. But what's this? We love you, brand. Oh, French Kev. Mon ami from here. Some kissy lips.
It's from the region of Chav.
Renee. Oh, Renee. What was it? John Smith.
That's how you pronounce that.
You and me are the ladybirds from the John Smith's advert with the. Do you remember what that was? The Jack D era of that kind of promotions. Moving on.
Swiftly.
Everyone all good then? What do you want to...
Yeah, we know all about the money. We're only exchanging promises. So every time anybody uses cash, you add in the national debt because it's a promise to pay. A promise is a debt. So all this nonsense when they say, "Oh, we've just taken the National Insurance Fund and paid off a large lump of the national debt." No, they haven't. They've added it to the national debt because money's worthless. It's not backed by anything. It's just a promise. So we're in this system where we're using their money and just creating Christ knows how many generations in the future for them to be paying it off, and it's only ever going to increase. End of. Right, next. Is that solved?
Yes, what a very clever placenta and umbilical cord you are. Is all I'm going to say. Wow, it's incredible where we find ourselves. Sometimes it's like somebody slipped in a little bit of a mushroom tincture into your tea when you weren't looking, and you've just come round and you're just like Lord Denning, you're tripping your tits off when you remark the promissory notes are to be treated as cash. It's a remarkable world we find ourselves. It's often we have to just grab something quick to check, balance, standing, motion, ground yourself, take it all in, just take a minute. It's a grandiose new vision when you see the same data that you've seen before but with a different clarity. A filter has been removed and more clarity is there. It's the same, it's not new, but the consciousness that we are bringing, you're bringing, that we're getting to is going to defend these little ones, as you said there, with the national debt and the printative into infinity Buzz Lightyear and his quantitative easing of the paper fiat system. Then you enter into this realm, and at the point of sacrifice, we'll say, the second coming, the citizenship being created at registration with the GRO, that then affixes you at the point of 18 and legal age, when you become civilly duty bound and liable to then service the national debt, yes, and legally become active and responsible. It's hilarious where we, often you might need a little bit of acid just to calm yourself down, like when you've got all your responsibilities and liabilities going. It's a fine old state of affairs, quandary, fine old mess. I feel like Laurel and Stan with the scratching of the head, and ooh, what a fine old mess, pesky.
Indeed, as I say, that's the problem. That's what people don't realise. The majority of people. I do not aim that remark at anybody in this room. But that's the problem. You're using promises, so you just add into the debt, because money's worth nothing. Since the gold standard was removed in 1931, we've been bankrupt ever since. We're in Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and so the only way you can pay in this society is by offsetting. So why not write to the HMRC and ask them for the correct process? Because you do not wish to add to the debt for future generations by using this nonsense paper. And hence why your own promissory note, as Lord Denning says, should be treated as cash, because it's just the same, it's worth just as much, which at the moment is nothing. I was going to say a different word in French.
Oh, exclamation mark. I know the one. Yes, somebody asked a question and I've just lost it. It would all rely upon trust administration. Who asked the question? Needs discharging, just got to learn. Mia's question, just got to learn how to. Trust administration would be how to. And discharge is what you're on about there. Yes, as Kev says, and as we've come to learn, value and value of, and how to accept for value. Value is a key word. Value, and how we treat that, how we service debts, charges, cash, credit, money. Now you've learnt, you see, to be very astute with the words that are used, and then how you then, deal with those, how you would choose to administer the administration of them, and how you would see if you are liable or not, and then whom you would involve to aid you into the administration and services of those charges and debts. Civilly you might get charged and you might be claimed with a debt, a balance, a statement of an account, that, etc. So what did Kev just say then? Something quite simple there. I don't know how you came up with that. Did you go to a secret club and have to pay a lot of money to say get in touch with the HMRC and ask them what the process was? Wow, that's a far out zany
it's
idea.
Just a logical step myself. Do an FOIA, do a SAR, GDPR request. Yeah. These are the facts. We're insolvent. We're in Chapter 11. Gold standard was removed. Under the Chapter 11 bankruptcy, it clearly states you can't use any money. Please could you forward me the correct process to offset this so I do not add to the national debt? Thank you, Kev.
Yeah, and under those circumstances, I can only see that some kind of bonding and everything's relying upon bonds we've found, as I've said about the laws and the hermetica and the alchemy and the bonding and the true bonding of man, what laws would be able to bond man, and then by the I don't know, juxtaposition of this lot here that we find ourselves in, then we want to look at the way that bonds, the financial bonds, are used and utilised, and you would look at government departments again. So we're going to move in these directions with regards to alternative provisions, and wouldn't say that a certificate of live birth is really the be all and end all to your assumed position of the co-beneficiary and trustee of this public trust we've come to find ourselves mixed up upon, so or within, because that would validate, for, as we said before, the darker side of the fatherless life, human product, monster, etc. We found the other side of the coin with the citizenship and the birth certificate. It doesn't mean anything in some ways, and in some ways it means everything. But the fact of correction and the right here, the measurements we've seen that far surpass constitution, and I've helped prove the snippet of the constitutional extract about persons and the case law and the debt and the constitution. So we've looked at the hierarchies of the laws, and the ones that interest me and Kev now, and what interests us and what we do generally has quite good strength, credit, hits the mark, and does what it says on the tin. So we're going to go this time, and we've opened the box that Noel's just given us in this house party acid bank holiday special, COVID-19 2020, bonanza. And inside we've got more things to look at, and these are called supreme laws, and the supreme DJ Supreme. It's the wild style. That's what we're doing now. We're going wild style with the number one DJ Supreme. That was a good tune. That was the wild style. Why did you do that to me, consciousness? But moving on with the wild style, which is a fine style. It's the renegade style. It's the wild style renegade child. Back once again for the renegade master, D4 damager.
Oh, here we go.
It is indeed, and the damager that's going to be done is going to be major pain. So the supreme element of life is now calling to us, as well as the quantum, and that would be the supreme courts and the supreme international laws that would help reinforce and support your political and social and other rights that you would bolt on. Like with your telephone now, you get your bolt-ons for your contracts. Well, we're going to offer you some optional hardcore. We said the shields of steel have been titanium plated. We're going to have some bolt-ons for them tied. Like you see Vespers with their mirrors on the front and them little brackets, and some of them have lots of mirrors and lots of brackets. Well, get ready. That's what we're saying. I yield.
I was just going to say to Strawman, he's put invest in rare metals. Yeah, absolutely. And I'll give everybody a little. Don't let this out of this room, people. I've got two cracking stocks that you got to get your money into: adamantium and unobtainium. Brilliant metals, still under the radar. Get your money in them.
Well, we're not giving no financial advice. This is no investment liabilities. I've got to say loads of text now. You've said that.
No, you haven't.
God, and redeem.
No, you haven't.
This
Because
channel.
what I just said was nonsense.
Oh, go on then.
Adamantium and unobtainium.
All right then.
Okay? You just calm down with your big words and your fancy disclaimers.
Oh, I could just crush a grape.
Oh dear. Adamantium's what's matey Wolverine's made of. And unobtainium, what was that in? That was in a film recently. But that's unobtainium. Okay.
They have got lots of rules and beliefs, and in their cult system, anything that is not real, not natural, not divine, not positive, not essence of life, and it's a created, manifested. We call it. How is it manifested? Man created it, so it's a manuscripted, manifested proposal of an infrastructure, some kind of architecture that we give credence and we recognise it, and it's not there 1 minute and then the next minute it's there, and we look at the words and the temples and the places and the instruments, and we break it down, and we've given you the etymology, the Greek, the Latin, and sometimes the Francais, or going back to lineages of civilizations and showing you where you are. Their system far from appeals to me now. We have got it, and it does enslave us, but we have seen other systems, and you've got a choice and a free will, so you can fascinate yourselves with their levels and layers of, and persist to give it recognition. But I did some notices the other week saying that I no longer recognise, okay, the crown and the agents and everything and the agencies, and furthermore, there's more to it than this. But guess who does recognise it? My person. So David, man, doesn't recognise any of the United Kingdom, the courts, the legislation, the statutory, the trust agreements, the legal things and all of that, and the Admiralty, the Maritime, the UCC, the Ecclesia. Do you know why? Because it's not designed for man, it's designed for person interaction, commerce, trade, trading souls with certification, adding, technocratic, evidences to from the lineages with these charges, transfers, debts, sin, what we've brought to you with the interest, and makes me sick. So I don't want nothing to do with them, and I cannot recognise them. I will not recognise them, but tell you who will, my person. And that's how it rolls here. So everything that you're on about in the chat room and where you're getting intricate, we've done quite a lot for you, so we can establish a way out, and then we interface in a wholly different way that will be quite foreign to you, which is called in the private. You are all actually private now, and when I say the 21st of the 12th, the trust will take any man that wants to go to the private and get you into the private and give you all the tools, instrumentations, proclamations, claims, and things that you should have already, in addition to your will and testament, powers of attorney, private express trust, private trust in themselves, irrevocable, revocable, and etc. that we've brought to you. You are also to recognise that you as man are private, and nobody can force you to believe any of their cult bullshit that they don't have any evidence for or proof, or that they've made up. The Law Society, are you in that? Are you a solicitor? Are you a sailor? Are you a pilot? Are you a tinker? Or are you something else? So I'll leave that for you, and I'll yield again, but I'm very happy with where we are and where we've got to go, and you've got to make some choices.
Yeah, Mia's just got, yes. Yeah, Adamant, that's it. Have you ever heard their first album, which was before they hit the big time? It's really good. It's called Dirk Wears White Socks. Cracking album for its time, and nothing like what they were when they hit the big time.
Did they sing I Fought the Law and I Won, or The Law Won? Was that something else?
Well, the Clash did a version of that.
Adamant, was it? Alright, maybe.
But it's an older song than that. than even the Clash.
So, before my time.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, the chromosome 8 thing, that's interesting. As a proposition, which would explain a lot, would it not? Although, do we really need another explanation? We all know the main explanation is it's bullshit. With a ridiculously high survival rate. But I'll give it its due. It did. It's got a calendar, a watch, everything. This virus. It's so intelligent. It's great. You must wear masks, but not till next Friday. And at such and such a time on this day, you have to do X, Y, Z. Oh my God. These people, and these are people that have allegedly had hundreds of thousands of pounds spent on their education. Well, quite frankly, they can keep it because so it must be hand selected. Right, who's all the idiots? Let's get them all in Parliament. And they've done it. Fair play to them. What's that? About a passionate. What the? Oh my God! Well,
I just read Lisa's comment.
For long.
Go on.
What about Alaska Airlines?
Yeah, I just read Lisa's comment, wearing it improperly, whatever the hell that means.
No, yeah.
It's commercial rules, isn't it? Right. When you run something, when you rent something, when you have a business, then you can make them rules, and the government make the rules to make sure your rules are in place, and then we've got our own rules for the private. But I haven't got no private planes or modes of locomotion for us yet. No, that would need to be arranged, but that's policy, isn't it? The policy is what they're saying. The IC, the policy.
Technically, you don't. That's corporate policy. So unless you work for them, it's not relevant to you. You could ask them to pay you. Say, look, well, if you want to give me the ticket for nothing, or give me a little wage for that day, I'll be part of the company for the day, and I'll follow the policy. Thank you. You still get slung off the plane either way.
Chromosome 8. Chromosome 8. I'm reading about chromosome 8 in our DNA is what the health professionals say.
It's COVID. That's what's coming up in the testing.
There's a lot I could say on that. My mind just splintered in several directions, multiple. It was going on to...
strap yourselves in, people.
It was going on to the Palladians and the DNA and the star side, because it's called Strawman. It's close to Starman. You've got a Strawman who could be a Starman, talking about chromosomes, DNA and blood. The tribe, I forget where it is, where they're indigenous to, but their blood was closely related to a humankind, humanoid, a pre-human race. They found evidences of a... What was it? Wait, what was it? They didn't do something. At high altitude, the Sherpa, at high altitude, the things I have, why? But here we go. Yeah, strap yourself in to a goatee type donkey on a high mountain, and I will be your Sherpa. And these people, this race can go up mountains, and where we, Western white man, pale face, would struggle to breathe and have bodily seizures, the blessed Sherpa there can go up and do whatever naturally, carry on, function 100%. Why? Because they've got a strange DNA. It's not strange as in they're weird, but they've got an additional DNA tweak that we haven't. A chromosome, is it then? To be fair, and they say they've added this to athletes forcibly. They've found it. They've isolated it. You know that thing you can buy on Amazon called the CRISPR that does DNA. Oh yeah, that thing there. That's where we're at. Yeah, and I say about technologies. So that gene is responsible for allowing them to perform like an athlete in very, very low pressure, thin air conditions, DNA 8. So they worked out that strain of that in the Sherpa is related to a race that no longer exists, a pre race of specials that I won't go into now. It's a whole other video, which then leads me on to splintering off on that one simultaneously, the caves and the systems and the 20, because I've been looking at is it Muru, that big rock thing that came in to the solar system from outside our solar system, and it was about 18 kilometers long or something. It was 800 kilometers. It was big and it was rock, but then it speeded up as it got towards the sun, and then it did some funky stuff and left the system, and it looks like it could have been sent from the Palladian system. That Muru, Hawaii picked it up, didn't they? And they named it something, and it reacted not like a comet.
It did a 90-degree.
He did some funky ass business.
Did a 90-degree.
That's the one.
Different direction, yeah.
And there's 20 civilizations on Earth that have depiction of the there's about 250,000 stars up in the Pallades area, but the Palladians and the constellation that man's got depicted down here, not to mention the other history that we found in Eric von Daniken's calls, I'd agree that the DNA is indeed under attack, under threat, and there's a lot of big-headed scientists around that just make me think, yeah, what go on here with the bloodlines? They seem to be very important, don't they? The one thing that is consistent through the thousands of years of continual bloodshed is this thing about bloodlines and the chosen ones. Fascinating. The harvest. Shh.
Mia said she was more into Wham, and she laughs afterwards. But yeah, that turned out to be a disappointment, didn't it? For you girls. Oh, Georgie boy. Never mind.
Oh, yeah.
And he didn't do a lot for drink drivers either.
I'm catching up with the comments.
Yeah, I'm just I'm sort of going through making a question. Oh, we've been there, Fly. Look at the language you're using. You cannot drive without a license. Because if you're driving, you're a driver. That's why you've got a driver's license. But you can travel as a man. Now, am I going to have to come up there and beat this into you?
Yeah, public, commercial and private. So you would need exemption from the agency and the Minister for Transport. You got Grant Shapps, the Minister for Transport. You got Julie Leonard, the CEO of the DVLA. You need to instruct and appoint them. Remember, when you're in a trust, you don't need to know you're in a trust to be in a trust. When we all found out we was trustee with legal possessory title and not as beneficiary or principal or even set law, either one or times different depending to suit. So once you set yours up, you know, you should be able to, and it's not where you're asking anything there. They're a public official agency. Well, now you know they're all private corporations and businesses, and they're not actually government at all. So the facade, when we said where is government, where does government live? Government is just an idea, a principle, like the Roman Caesars and the empire and how it ruled with the, you know, what I brought out in that video, subject and matter today. So you would require from them, and then you would use and you would enforce. And if they were to disclaim their duties and so forth, you would have to then, you know, this is the point that man falls down once getting into the administration and the you know, execution of deeds and management of property titles and estate. We don't know how to, and it's been said to Kevin and I quite a bit the other day by somebody called Andy, where his words were, I know what I want to do, boys, and I know that I've got the stuff that I need to win, but I just don't know what path to take and how to set it up, because they're crafty and they're sneaky and they will make it so I lose and set me up. And we went, yes, we know what you mean, and we'll help you out, and we will be able to give you the pathway to succession, didn't we, Kev? So it's happening all the time.
Indeed.
You just need to learn the next bit. We can't give you everything all at once. It needs to be staggered and in a process. So you need to then uphold your requirements and get them to be accountable for their actions. Is where we're at then, and you know, maybe they need to pay for their actions or not. And this is what these systems are there for, and that's why you have the persons to use and the management of that. Somebody says no, and you don't know how to, like, they have rules that we've pointed out to you, which are either maxims or assumptions and dirty little things like that. And if you don't know that you have any rights, you don't know when they're being taken away, and they're not going to tell you about your rights either. So therefore, you don't have any rights. So that's why we refuse to play the games. You know, why would you want to play? Ignorance of the law is no defence. Well, how much law have you got? Well, about 60 million codes. Right, really? 60 million? Okay, and it's no defence if you miss one of them. No, you fucked it. We'll have you. Okay, then I'm not playing. I've got a bad memory, to be fair. My short-term memory is shocking, my lord. I'm not playing. For that reason, I'm out. Exactly.
Couldn't you then just throw a really obscure bit of legislation and say the number of it, and then say, "Sir, could you tell me what that is?" And if he says, "I have no idea what that is," ignorance of the law is no defence, sir.
Exactly. It's pompous. It's an ass. It is a complete lily white ass in the moonlight, shining at you. Sorry,
Oh my
everyone,
God,
but there you
yeah.
go. And they want you to believe it's a peach. It is no peach. It's not a peach, honestly.
I'm
So,
just gonna. Sorry, mate. I was
well,
just gonna say something to Quinn because he's old enough to remember Blue Oyster Cult. Don't know about the blue chicken cult.
seasons don't fear the reaper. Na na na
Yeah,
na.
steady.
That's a great
Let's
tune.
go.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
How does it start? There's a guitar at the beginning. It is, isn't it? It's like a little guitar riff at the beginning how it starts, but I can't recreate that. Nice bit of real music that for us, that one, Kev. I think I might cry. Shit. Come on, man up, man up. What a lovely tune. Back in room. Fly.
Back in. Yeah, I'm in the.
Let's get Fly again. What were we saying to Fly? He needs to become
Well, Fly was
exempt.
asking about driving and
Yeah. He
licenses.
needs to learn his languages and see which capacity he really wants to be in, and then go for it. Traveling or driving. Can I share with you the fact that when I was in front of my 3-year-old nephew t'other week, and he had his Lego kit out on the table, and Uncle Dave was showing him what go on and how to use Lego properly.
With the Lego.
Yes, because I am qualified in that. I'm overly qualified, to be
I'd
fair.
go with a Lego either.
and he had his little Lego bike there, and I was enjoying my little yin on it and reliving past memories. And then I said to him, I said, little nephew, I'll keep his identity, private. And I says, if you need to answer me now, are you a driver or are you a traveller? And if you answer me wrong, let me tell you, it might cost you 70 quid and a trip to the station. Friend, family, foe, Roman, no respect here. I need to know, which one are you? Are you a traveller or are you a driver? And he said, Uncle Dave, I'm not a traveller and I'm not a driver. I'm a person. And I was like, oh wow, that's along the right lines. I'm going to let you off with that one, as you're only 3, and that's quite good. That's quite a good angle of thinking outside the box and a way to answer. I'm not a driver and I'm not a traveller. I'm a person. We can work on that. We can change that, can't we, family? He's 3. He's got some room. Let him flex. I was quite ecstatic. It kind of made my week to think that little consciousness can be. Not that he's never really been talked to like that by me before. Let me tell you, I just in a funny little cheeky mood, and I took the moment, I seized it, and he seized it. He seized me. I thought I was gonna have him, and he got me like some. Oh wow! I was like, no way. That was unexpected. That was, as you can tell by my rendition of it, not just because it's my own blood. After watching Supernatural and the 5D quantum, so I have faith, and I get excited about it quite a bit, as you can see. Fantastic
Uh,
youth.
can I do a follow up to the
Yeah.
driver license bit and all the rest of it? Steve's put a question in. Hello, mate. He says, Kevin, does the national insurance cover you as a traveller? Well, allegedly, there's £500,000 on that, allegedly. That's a figure I've heard. I cannot confirm or deny whether that's true. You could argue that. I'll tell you what, I'll give you my personal details and you can put your hand in the wallet, okay, over there in the trust. How's that?
And can we just say that we've recently spoken to a family member, a clansman, one of us, and an initiate of self, and they've told us that they've been grafting all their life, which means they've paid their statutory entitlement, pension, the SERPs and the NI, and the tax contributions, all of it, and then they've come to go for the benefits because they're not very well and they've had a bad back and they're really in a bad way, and they've been ignored for 2 years. Okay, and this is an honourable. It's so we're to believe, and we'll take it on the value as, because we've no reason not to think this. An honourable, hard-working, private man of many years, come to the system to say, I'm stuck now. I've paid all my contributions, my voluntary. You know, nobody forced him to do that. He volunteered to do all of this, remember, and opted in themselves, declared that they have a business, declarations and proclamations left, right, and centre. They've pummeled the money away in the form of contributions in various outlets to the government and the agencies of, and they've come to ask for it, some of it back, and they've been ignored for 2 years. They've had an MP involved. They've had the what is it ICO agree with them, and they've got all of the paperwork, and they've done nothing wrong. So you know, just remember when we're on these lines and we're saying, will the national insurance will it billio, because these lot just don't. You need to remember that if you can't manage a court, then you should never ever consider going to a court. That's just a basic 101. And if you go to a court and you can't manage it, you normally hire someone to manage it who's in the court club with the, so they don't have our interest, so we never win anyway. You know, and the same thing with this kind of property argumentation. We'll have to teach you in some ways, you know, the ways of which you would do to get the um, you would send the authorities and set it all up before you even did this, so then you would know that you'd be all right, rather than trying to travel privately and then hoping, you know, I'm talking, you'd already have the number plate that would say private on it, so you would already have what would we say now then, immunity for whatever reason under the recognised covenants and things that are in place, not Article 61, not Magna Carta, not the you know, maybe some common law might come into it, who knows, but you would get some immunity, diplomatic exemption from that, and then you'd end up going out with your private plate and all that sorted. Yeah, not free man, not badass one, or sovereign one, or all these kind of other things we could possibly have. It would just say private. So if 50 of us went private in a week's time and we all did this, we'd all have private. We'd all have different coloured, shaped blocks, units, horses, yeah, so they'd recognise that one's got a pony, one's got a stallion, one's got, you know, an Italian thoroughbred, one's got a Spanish half, what, you know, and all these different types of horses. I'm trying not to use vehicle makes and models and that, and so therefore it would be fine for us all to display private. Then any civil infraction that would be made by an officer in their private capacity with their full public commercial liability, yes, because their policy won't back them if they break their policy. They have to operate in the authority that they've been given. If they step out of that and breach it, it's on them. So when they see the word private and they go through and they say we got a black stallion in West Yorkshire, and he seems to have a Smoky and the Bandit scenario, and he seems to have got this private on. What we saying, Gov? And the Gov comes back and goes, what was that? That was a what? A black stallion, Spanish something. Has it got a white mark on its back hind leg? The offside rear? Yes, it has. Do not approach it. If you do, you will be disturbed. And that's how it would work. You know, it wouldn't be we go out there and then on the spot prove that we're in the private. You would announce it, your paperwork preceding you, and you would authorise that to be done, and you would get confirmation. And often they may plead and say they don't know, in which case we will talk about that again.
Yeah, you could fly. You certainly got point out a few things in the right places and ask questions. I know some people in the past have had responses. Whether that's still the case today, but it's about giving them all notice. You know, you're not subject to those acts as you're not a driver. So you just got to basically clarify your status, standing, capacity, position. This is where I am. The only thing you'll come up against is insurance, of course. Now, obviously, in an ideal world, you could plot up a few $100,000 and go with that. I've got a bond for it, so I don't need insurance because something happens, I can pretty much cover it.
Can I just use this to butt in with a segue and say, did I not bring to you all about the traveller and the ethnicity? Have we forgotten about this fly? What did I say? I suggest you revisit those videos where we've got the Irish committee there, direct, I think, Northern Irish one, and then you've got a bit of a video from me afterwards going, what? So when you wonder, when the fair comes into town and there are travelling Romany Irish gypsies, and we've seen the we've seen, and I've got Irish blood as well, so nobody can take offence. I'm not going to go down that
Me
road,
too.
but I will put on, the Irish pikey scenario there for you to mentally envisage and say, when the officer says to brother Irish traveller of the ethnic of a minority, an ethnic minority, you haven't got the correct details, and you're not giving me a name, and you're not giving me a date of birth. So I'm going to now seize the vehicle. And what do they normally say? They say, take the fucking van, I'll get another one tomorrow, 500 quid, £500. And they don't care. That's the attitude you need to have, and get yourself a low runner. If you're going to do that, then
Yeah,
be prepared to lose it if you're just going to do it like that. And the same as the Irish travellers, which is what they are, which isn't me taking a dig. It's a factual thing that has happened, and the way that they get away with certain other issues, legality ones, is the fact that they claim to be travellers, and look at the support and ethnicity a minority of a traveller has. It's a recognised, and I brought you this time and time again
yeah,
before, so remember that bit as well. And then you pin and layer up your what have you got? A name? Have you got identity? Have you got the rights to property? How do you prove the rights to property fly? By titles to it. So layer up your defence, and then let them know the agencies, and you inform them. And in a court of law, who would win? If you had to argue, you would make sure you would win. So no one's going to take you to court, so they'll allow you to do it. It's like getting them into default, but in this case, it's arguing about your titles, your rights, and your property. And there are ways and means of arguing about titles and rights and property. And there are brilliant things that we found recently that I've given to you that you've forgotten about. And it's my job, R. Graham, with a quick reminder. Travellers are classified at law as an ethnic minority. It's an advantage to choose to consider, should it be a benefit to ye. All right, I yield. To be sure. God
uh,
bless you.
my answer to the dolphin question is traumatic because dolphins are retarded cunts.
You got any more questions? That's good. We like the questions, see. Keep us on our toes there. Travellers, you would pay in your own common law right. So you damage something in common law, you're obliged to pay. Nobody says you need to contract and be a person to correct it. You still, as a private man, self-governing, sentient master of self and law, would make amends for your calamity and damage. If someone damaged you, you could pay in gold pieces, in shekels, in buttons, in food. You come to an agreement. You don't have to go and ring ambulance chasers and put claims in and go to court. We have the ability to, conscionably, honourably settle. Who's had a bang and not called insurance companies and dealt with it with promises and paper? Well done. Because I've done that a couple of times, when the need arose, and the others are willing. So no, there's no breaking of the law. They say in the policy, you must notify us of such and such, or it wouldn't. So you be careful about your policies there. But these are times gone by when I was younger, and both parties agreed to privately and amicably sort it out. Do you know why? Because the excess was 750 quid on the policy, and there was only 250 quid worth of scratches at that. So
Yeah,
why would you pay? So you keep your gob shut and you do it privately. Everybody wins. You see? So no crime, no victim. Everyone's happy. Save five bills. That's kudos to all that have done that. And again, furthermore, you take that again further. If you didn't, and you was private and you was established, then you'd need some funds to pay it. But as we are bankrupt in a monetary system as it is, you could actually lodge, secure some bonds with the Treasury Department, Home Office, etc., and get things in place. So then anybody that needed to draw upon would get in touch with your appointed trustee of your trust administration, and they would go out and pay, because you would put your equitable asset as an asset in a trust. And if you're the trustee of that trust, and you've got legal possessory title to that asset, and you're legally responsible to manage, and that asset is something like an equitable asset, that would be a signature, then they can access and afford that signature and offset and discharge for you as trustee. Shut up. I know it seems simple when you say it fast. Let's slow it down and rewind it. See if you can make sense of that. I yield.
well, that Steve. Sorry, I'm back through him. I don't know if I backhand, but that's a figure I heard. I say I can't. I've heard it several times. I'm trying to think. It might have come. It might have come via Roger Taylor, who's been around long enough. I've never had anything suspect from Roger. I'll be honest.
I have jokes.
Have that wrong.
Dry jokes. Humour.
Oh yeah. He's having a bit of a go at the moment. I think he's losing the plot in a nice way. But that's what I heard. How true that is, I don't know. But allegedly so. I mean, I've read stuff to the effect of what it says on the tin. It's your national insurance.
Yes, Carl Butterworth. It's coming out very soon. Hopefully by Monday tea time, I'll have some 7-8 notices to secretaries and generals and stuff for you to have a look at for December time. So they will be editable, and you can choose to look at them or not. So with regards to an affidavit, it would be more reclaiming of titles, access titles, property rights, and saying you would be announcing and correcting of the trust. Expression of the correct trust means that the previous statutory constructed and conscionable one immediately dissolves without any ifs or buts. So when man knows and calls it out, then you go back and yes, you're right, deceptive. A good question, and thank you, Carl. It's on its way, and it's all possible. 100%, no ifs, no buts, guaranteed satisfaction, I'm afraid. Go on, Kev. Just thought I'd answer that one because that's a nice one.
That's fine. There's a little bit of a joke going on about flies carpeting his back doors, and then he's just covered that backside. Covered that fucking dustbin lid. Anyway.
Dear. And stop saying driving, you're travelling. Well done. Who said
yes.
that? I remember that one. Come on, fly now. You're
not driving unless you're being paid.
That's the one.
To drive that vehicle, do whatever you've got to do. Then you're a driver. And as I think Steve was just saying, you don't have passengers either. You have occupiers. Yeah, that's right, Steve. Yeah. Taxis and bus drivers have passengers, so passengers got your car? None. Have some occupiers. Guests. Compagnon.
NWO. I know what that is. That's Brother Lyndon then. Easy, my man. Are private plates the way to travel? Well, no, private plates are just telling the public and the officers and the agents of the agencies that there's a private property equivalent, automobile vehicle to them. It's private. It says private. There's no mistaking what private means. What part of private did you not understand there? You may speak legalese, but I'm sure private means private in legalese as it does. I'd have to check that. But yeah, it's not public. The opposite of public. Not public. It's just an announcement. So rather
public.
Yeah, you could have a private plate and go fully private like people do. Dave One equivalent, anything you want. You just you wouldn't be paying for it like the ones do there though, and getting it that way. You'd have to make sure that it was one of a kind, because there are people already in the game, aren't they, selling them? So the way to go is to restore your title and your rights and your property and correction. It's trust administration is the ultimate. If you're in any doubt, trust administration. I can't say that word enough. Yeah. Strawman, I'd like to say. I'd just like to say to Strawman about the suffering during this pandemic, etc. Wall Street, Amazon. Is COVID a banker's virus, disease, infection? Is it? It looks like they are profiting and printing. Yeah, go on, Kev. That's all I wanted to say.
I was just going to say to Fly, no sexual innuendos, please. And I think this country was built on war, on bloodshed, sexual innuendo, and don't you forget it. It's a proud part of our heritage.
Okay then.
All right, next.
Stephen and his horsey, his car is not Euro 6. And on October the 1st, 2021, Sadiq Khan wants 27 a day to drive in London. So he's what does Sadiq Khan title claim there? Is he the mayor of London then? Is he not the Lord Mayor? Is the mayor, is he? Is that what position he's got? He's not in the Treasury, is he? He's not in transport. I think he's the mayor of London, is that right? But either way,
Yeah.
yeah, Sadiq Khan's are saying that then you got £27 surcharge. If you're private and you're exempt, you're private and exempt. If you're public and commercial, you're going to be paying that. So there will be, do you think let's just go, do you think every police car that happens to be working that day, every day in that vicinity, will they all be paying 27? No, they won't. And if they are, it's a scam. Fools. But certain exemptions, like the Queen, and no insignia, no plate, parking on double yellows, stuff like that. She's the Queen, exemption. Police going through red lights, common law breach, exemption. So there are certain exemptions for that rule. And recognition of that is for your person, it's for your driver. They can charge your driver, and you can manage with the trust administration and charge and offset and discharge and etc. After you've conditionally accepted anything they do put on you at any time legally. We have shown that the conditional acceptance is the master choice of instruments each and every time. Every claim that is made, no matter how small or how massive, you will say, okay, you will consider saying, sorry, I conditionally accept that, and I will get in touch with my conditional acceptance after I've spoken to my attorney at law and advocate, and then we will formulate a remedy for this. No problem at all. I'll see you later. Thank you very much. This is going to be fun, is what you're thinking in your head, because you know they don't know what you know, and you know that you're going to bust a move, but you keep calm, you be polite, you willingly accept, and then you kill them with the love later. And he who laughs last indeed laughs loudest. So we have given you some brilliant ways of no longer, vexation and damaging, and keeping in control, regaining control of the situation with full authority and no liability. What? I know. It's beautiful where we're at.
It's beautiful.
It is though. Think about it, where you're at now compared to where we was. We're not at the end, but it's very close, and there's a lot more on the table, and for the benefit of thee ye than there ever was. So that's for the politicians and the monkeys and the world stage. That's beyond our control. That's just the weapons of mass distraction to keep ye from finding the inner key. To be fair, most of it, I've give up with it. I have said to Kev earlier, sugar, I haven't watched the news for a long time. I'm really out of touch with headlines and politics and carry on and faux pas, and we're going to struggle here, Kevin. And I think it's been an hour or so already, and it's flown. Look. With not a problem.
Usual. Once you get in the swing of it, well, it's a good room as well. That's what I mean. That helps.
Yeah.
I've just got a drone on. It's nice. I mean, I don't know how far back I am. I haven't moved the screen for ages. I'm frightened to scroll. Okay. I'm a little bit behind. Only because I'm trying to keep an eye on questions and stuff, people, and trying not to miss anything that's worth having a giggle or discussing.
Is one's plate part of your private trust? No, it's just a plate. Your property is part of a trust. Trust has an asset. Asset holds the trust holds the asset. The asset would be the protected property. The asset is it can be anything really, property wise. We'll not get into that, but it could, because there's many different trusts for different purposes, and management of funds and that, rather than property itself. But the technical, simply, your plate would be part of the vehicle, the car, which is property, private, no longer a vehicle and public. So the plate would belong to the car, and it would say whatever. Look at America, what you have them square plates where they can have them individual, names and state things and that, and then they have the state plate next to it. So before number plates, we used to just rely upon a chassis, and there was, perhaps no number plate there thing. But then they come up with the idea of number plates and how to plate cars, you see, plating of metal, electroplated. You have a plate in your head, plates themselves. Think of what a plate is and where it comes from, plated. But the plate is supplementary to the VIN number, the chassis. That was
surely
the main.
that should be the only number you need, wouldn't it?
Exactly.
The VIN number. That's the identification.
There is a video I've done on special purpose vehicles on here that covers quite a lot of this and telling you that about vehicles and your driver's license being a vehicle, special purpose vehicles. When they say, "Is this your vehicle?" No, it's private property. Hand them the driving license and say, "That's my vehicle," and they'll be like, "What? Are you on acid, man?" No, that's actually not a Cheech and Chong
You're
quote.
fucking Nick, me beauty.
I am neither I am neither Cheech Marin nor Chong Martin. I am David the Sovereign and the Kingmaker, and I am not crazy. That there is not a driving license. It's a photo ID card, which is counterpart to the driving license. You've asked me to produce a driving license. I don't have that. I have the counterpart photo ID, which is now a special purpose vehicle. It's plastic and it has information upon its face that you're going to use and recognise as my driver. What? This is a vehicle and you're not the driver? Yeah, that's all right. You go and check that shit out in your own publications, and we've come a long way. That's what I mean. Are you legally trained there, officer? And no, you're not. Oh, okay then. That's all I needed to know. I'll make a note of that too. On my film here, yes, we're filming everything for evidence, damages, and etc. Carry on. It's a marvelous state of affairs where we used to get angry before and end up crying, but now we often stay calm and end up smiling, saying that was fun. Can't wait to upload that one.
We hold it in now.
It's a turnaround. It's the other cheek, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Talking to flies back doors.
Carpeting them. That's good. Fly.
Right, where are we?
You're bringing the standards down, brother.
Oh, yeah? I thought that's what I was here for. My mother always said, play to your strengths. Whereabouts are you, Dave? Where are you, Dave, in the room?
I don't know. I'm just all over the place like a scantily clad epileptic spider.
Spider. Yeah, all right, Steve. I'm down the bottom of the room now. No worries, mate. Yeah, let me know. But, yeah. Put them on note. What can you do? What you got to lose? Sod it. Require an exemption.
Transport Secretary, yeah, and DVLA is an agency. The Transport Secretary is the representative who says he's government that isn't government. He's part of the UKG corporation, so he can be appointed and accept that. You can be courteous and let him know, or you could just surprise him. But I find it hard to be able to set up a trust and put somebody in a position of trustee and not inform them, but yet one day somebody's going to contact them because you've named them as a trustee in the trust, and they're going to have to do stuff. So they're going to have to operate under instructions. Whereas, if you're cunning about it, I've got to get to the finer points of all of this with you all. But yeah, you'll see later down the line the magic at play. You see, we accepted the position of trustee without knowing, you see, and they cunningly tricked us. It's about how you set this up, but normally the trustee would accept. It would be a conscionable, you see, because trustees, that's the point, you would accept the duties and responsibilities assigned to them. So you wouldn't normally end up as a trustee in a trust and not know, unless it's a hoodwinky one, and that's not the correct terms. I'm doing that on purpose, but you've been hoodwinked into it. So when you find out and you go, that's right, it all goes out the window, and then it reverts back to normal. But if you don't know, how to do that, then they're not going to tell you. No. Nasara Jasara or not, it's not here yet, I'm afraid. We're still waiting for that.
Come on.
Kiss on the bum. Sorry, here's your 6 million each. We're very sorry. Imagine.
What did we say last night? Okay. I said to Dave, this Swiss, has anybody looked at that document, for Christ's sake? I mean, apart from all the beautiful, pretty colours on it, which obviously means it's valid, because it's got colour on it. Fuck. And then it says, authorised by Swiss Indo. Okay. Who's Swiss Indo? Oh, what's it? Tucci, isn't it? What's her name?
Possibly, I believe it's part of OPPT or one. Yeah,
That's right.
I'm sure
Yeah.
it's Heather
So
Lamb. Yeah.
nobody's a made-up group have
No.
authorised this. I mean, I said somebody did come to me and say they'd gone and had a look at all the signatures and that, and they reckon they were all moody. But come on, people. We're all going to get $6 million worth of gold. So let's, at the moment, what's that? About 3.5 mil in pounds.
Who knows? Yeah, it's nice, it's
You know,
lovely, but
we're all going to get that, are we? Of course we are. Yeah, they're going to put all the wrongs right and just help us all out. And then, as I've said before, think about it. If we've all got it, what's going to happen? Everything's going to be relative, so we'll be no better off than we are now. It'll just look nice in the account.
it'd be better to have a complete system overhaul and change, wouldn't it, rather than
Yeah,
to quantitatively ease ourselves into the same. You know, we've gone from whorehouses to poorhouses across the ages here, and we're going to stay in the poorhouse if we accept a proposal, remedy, solution that is really just adding to the problem. So what would really be better would be if we invented and used our imagination, which is the key part here, and created something else. This technology of money is an old ancient technology, and it hasn't been improved. It hasn't. Nobody's come along. A Bitcoin has recently. We've got the crypt. Oh, the death connection there. I'm not happy about that and the way that it was marketed and how it's been rumoured, and I'm still not sure about that. I can't be sure, and when you have that feeling of you can't be sure, it's not good, is it? So, money technology, it's been arrested for so long. It should be used as a stepping stone by humanity and our intelligence and intellect as a tool, and we should improve it to work with us, or we should leave it when it's no longer a benefit to us and drop it and move on. So we shouldn't be looking at a way of staying in a lower vibratory, not fair for all. You see what I mean? It's still, even if you can say whatever and it is genuine, but I'll still argue that it is not the divine best natural. Is it equal for all? All men are created equal until we build walls and create passports and chips and money and pins and no, it's not the right. It's a backwards step, even though it's a step of giving out gold. It would still be backwards in many ways. Yeah,
yes.
I get you. You're right.
Queen, sorry. I just want to. I've already got. Sorry, Queen, mate. I didn't mean to, upset you. All the money you had coming. It wasn't my intention to put it to you so suddenly, mate. So I apologise for that. Take a deep breath, mate. You'll be all right. I promise.
Hmm. Well, I'm looking now.
Yeah, sorry to spoil your party. There's no party.
Pushing it.
I'd love to think it was true, people. Don't get me wrong. I know I'm being sarcastic, possibly funny about it, but just think about it. Why would they do that now? Why? And I don't see ultimately what the benefit would be, because everything's relative. So, wow, we're no better off than we were before, because now houses cost £6 million, etc., etc.
Yeah,
So, I'd love it to be true, but I just don't see it. And as I say, the main thing is what they're just going to turn around and stop all the come on. It's too lucrative. They're too good at it. They've put many, many, many hundreds of years into this shit.
Swisindo World Trust International Orbit, coat of arms, headquarters Cirebon, West Java, Indonesia, languages Indonesian, type debt elimination, leader Sino, website swisindo.news/. In truth, Swisindo is a debt elimination. It says scam there in brackets, not my word. Swisindo is headquartered. Yeah, this is a wiki thingy feed, so it's not to be trusted. I'm going to take another one after this. Meads versus Meads is there. I've got that case law, and OPCA. There we go. Organised pseudological commercial arguments is what it uses there. I will have a look. I did look at the numbers because I saw 1 to 11, the chapters 1 to 11 were the heaven payback or something payments implementation. Let me go to Swiss Indo News and have a look at that as well. I'm sure that I found out that it was connected to the One Trust, but I will have a look here now into the World
Mia
Trust.
says no. I'm sure it was Mia said no, although that's another bogus set up. But she said they're not connected. Yeah, just saw
I'm just
it
looking
just
for
back
it
in the
because
comments.
it was doing my head in now. I remember finding lots of stuff about them other than 1 to 11, which is 111, but yeah, it was.
I think it was Mia. I can't find it now. Yes, there it was Mia. Yeah. She says no, completely different to OPPT, but just as bogus. I mean, this is similar to what when we just suddenly went, actually, let's go and look at the Clearfield Doctrine. Let's go and see. Let's go read it properly, see what it does, and it's nothing to do with courts being dissolved. Where that was magicked up from, I don't know, but it went around for ages with alleged dates and numbers, and they were dissolved and all sorts, which none of it checked out. So how this is what amazes me. So when you look at all this stuff, it's like, hang on, somebody's made a group, decided they're king of the world, and they're going to put all this. That's how mental it is when you look at most of this stuff. That is what it is.
I've just found a lot of claims here on Swiss Indo then saying that it's been organised by the 681st king in an unbroken line of Indonesia's servant kings called the King of Kings, Mr. Sino AS. This initiative, this is on their own site, aims for nothing less than the total empowerment, individual sovereignty.
It's total shit.
Yeah, but listen, wait, it then goes on. Swiss Indo World Trust International Orbit is a non-profit, humanitarian and sovereign organisation with its own combined collateral of exhibits A and B certificate, QR. It's got loads of UBS, UN, SAG. It looks a lot of, it says how many total amounts of billion kilos of gold and platinum, founded by the founding fathers in 1887, holder of 25 certificates for countries and certificates, and they've got lots of
certificates we printed ourselves.
The World Bank, they've got lots. I don't know. Royal courts.
Because it is.
Yeah, look at it going. Kings and sovereignty and
mate.
It's global and it's financial and it involves kings and Indonesia. So it doesn't look the most solid of foundations. If I was to be honest with you all right now, I'd stay away from that.
I'd stay right away from that. That's talk about moody.
You're gonna have to go to Indonesia to
That's
get.
only fools and horses territory, isn't it? Jesus.
Where's Indonesia? Jakarta, isn't it? It's right near Australia, so that's where you're gonna have to go to get your shit sorted when they rip you off, fam. Oh, Jakarta, Joey Negro, nice little 12-inch there. That was a good one, that tune, Jakarta. American Dream, was it? It was on a film.
Dunno.
I can't sing it, but Jakarta.
Probably one of those ones I wouldn't know the name of, but I've heard it.
Yeah, that's the one.
But not really my particular music, anyway.
Questions, everybody.
That sort of gay house.
Handbag, it's not gay, it's handbag. Told you this, Kevin.
Oh, I'm not politically correct, and I don't give a shit.
I'm not
being offensive.
I'm not gay, my boyfriend is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Dave was broadcasting naked last night.
You toe rag. Says you that moonlight naked moonlight bathing. My secret.
Yeah, I'm waiting for a clear night. It's much better in the moonlight for the neighbours. Anyway.
Can we
What's
read?
that, Mia? Have you seen? Yeah, I've seen the video. I've actually also, Mia, I've got a comment or two comments in a thread where his sister Tam comes in, and because there's some deluded people sort of falling for it, she comes in and points out that firstly, if it was true, Greg would not be the one in line, but he wouldn't be the first in line. And yeah, he's delusional, don't give him any money and blah, 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 he needs some help, it's 20 odd years of it, and yes, absolutely crazy, come on.
The divine
Anyway,
right of kings, yeah.
This is the other confusing thing. All these people going, oh, this isn't like that. We need to be out from under this system. Oh, a new king!
A shiny new king!
Oh, a shiny new king, I'll buy that. Come on. Say something. There's quite a lot of people, surprisingly, that do that. You think, no, they're really sort of, they know what's going on and all that. And all of a sudden, they're, oh, great, a new king's coming. How do you know he's a king? He's only one not covered in shit. Anyway.
Carry on, king.
Yeah, so I don't get it, people. Are you sovereign? Nobody here. Well, I don't think so. It's like the Winoa stuff. Come on, people. Come on with all that. One of the first videos I ever saw of him, one of the early ones, was him, I'm going to come over here and cut fucking Elizabeth's fucking head off, fucking, I'm going to come over in me fucking dugout. I'll be there in a few years. When I get out of the being fucking...
Very eccentric, wasn't it? Yes.
Oh my God. And then some geezer come on after him, all face tattoos, all proper job. Fucking racist, I've never heard anything like it. Oh my God. I was like, you are having a laugh. Yeah, I want you as my king. Oh my God, these people.
We'll hang for this, I'm sure, one day.
Well, in which case. What's that? Free woman. Hello. Please, can anyone here help the utility bill? Gas electricity, EDF, just heads up the point. Right, help me. I have a disabled child. Okay. Are you on meat? Oh, I take it you're not on prepayments or anything at the moment, hence the huge bill. Well, you could. They have got funds and stuff to help people like yourself with your disabled son, and obviously you've got COVID, etc. I don't care what your belief in it is. Use it to your advantage.
She hasn't got COVID, but we've got COVID going off. That's what you mean. You just said, have you got COVID? Have you got it? No, it just means that, yeah. It's conditional acceptance of proof of claim.
Well, possibly you could go down that road, or you could apply to their funds and things. You'll be surprised how generous they can be. You could start down the hello, can you help me out route, nice and polite, and then it's not very helpful for them to put the boots on. Ultimately, they can't leave you, they can't cut you off. They shouldn't fit prepayments anyway. There's plenty of legislation against that. But they do have like funds to help you out, and as I say, you could use
discretionary funds.
The fact this nonsense that's still going on at the moment has really affected you, and you've got a disabled kid, so extra worried, because they're not in their best health, so there's been extra worrying with this phantom, whatever it is, going about. I would suggest, possibly going down that route first, rather than just going in and go, right, who are you? Show me this, show me that. I think you hold that back because you never know.
It's worth a go. It's worth a shot.
Seriously helped out.
Before we...
Yeah.
Before we go in,
I would suggest that way, yeah, before you start getting, well, not snotty with them, but actually starting to use the rules and regs and asking what go on with them and all the rest of it. You possibly, try the polite route first. Is there anything? Here's my situation. As I say, there's lots of stuff you could put in that would back up a disabled kid. All this nonsense going on. How long's it been going on? It's been affected mentally, physically, strain.
Can we ask what methods of payment they would take, and then have they sent a bill? Does that bill conform to the 1882 bills of exchange? Is it a true bill? Is it more than likely a statement? If they've sent you a statement of an account, whose account is that? Is that your account? Are you just a holder in due course? Could you look at the articles of memorandum and association that a company that would be listed in Commerce to Trade in the United Kingdom would be governed by? Could you find within that articles of memorandum and association a fact that a CEO may be able to operate as a trustee in office as well? What other executives would this business have? Would it have a financial officer? Would it have a data officer? Does it have, what officers do they have? Who do you look at possibly later down the line coming in to ask for help and proving, and there are articulations and payments and methods and transfers and discharge for statements and non-bills, and also accepted for values. So yeah, don't think that we just can't be bothered. We do know quite a bit and where to go and what to look at. So just thought I'd get that in there, Kev. So there's a little bit of notes there for her to make, or possibly not. Yeah,
there's lots of things you can do. As I say, I would suggest, maybe just have a word with them about the funds and your situation, see what they come up with. I say, I've heard quite a few types where that sort of debt's just been written off.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I've known people use it.
Those backing me up. So it's not unheard of. So, as I say, sometimes it pays to ask what they've got in place that could help you out, and things are terrible, etc., etc. You play the game, you know what I'm saying? And then, if you don't get much in the way of help that way, then we've got loads of other things we can do. And it is loads
disgusting.
We can do.
A disgusting amount of options for you.
Count into dispute, prove X, Y, Z, supply us with this, supply us with that. Oh, it's never ending. That's why it's not the easiest question to answer quickly. But yeah, there's plenty you can do. You can contact us via the .com.
Facebook. There's a Facebook group. There's loads of people out there doing stuff. You can get information from and back and check things up. The due diligence, interaction, opinions of others. Albert, we know, has had good success with the inland revenue, doesn't he? This isn't just talk. Yeah, we know someone. Inland revenue zeroed. Man's testified and said he's had success. These things do actually go down. Mortgages. Somebody, I've been getting questions and hype and feedback about a mortgage movement, and it turns out that somebody was asked to help out and didn't, and somebody else has helped out with a mortgage. A man that goes by the code name of which I won't tell you, and it's a woman in Liverpool that concerns, I believe, and this man has found a remedy out, and he's been to a court and he's put down the 20 odd pages, and the court have upheld the private argumentation for mortgage default, repossession, etc. You know where I'm going. And then this national mortgage movement may have got hold of what this man's done, when this mortgage movement may or may not have left this lady in the lurch, and so there are claims being made left, right and centre here. But what I can bring to you is, it wasn't the national mortgage movement that did this. I've had this testified by a brother that I trust with my life, so he's told me what go on, and someone in the private has stemmed off a bank, and had a good success with it. So these are the times we're in. Everything what you thought you know, just disregard it and start afresh. Start with a clean slate. Think of it as anything can happen. Roll that dice and have a go.
I'll put this.
Kick ass.
Can I just put this out there? 1 second, mate. 3 women. Have a, as I say, go down that avenue first. You can email me if you need any more advice, or just to have a chat. Maybe we can arrange a chat if you need that down the line. Kevin at splspro.com. There's loads of things you can do, talk you through it, show you some bits and pieces. It's documents, etc. But I would start down the road of serious hardship. I think that's what it is, like a hardship fund or something like that. Any help, but play on everything that's been going on. And I don't want it to sound as bad as it might sound, but you've got a disabled child. That's a major thing. It's twice as stressful as normal people's lives, should we say, on top of all the other nonsense. Does your mental health no good? Stress, getting in a state. Is there any help they can give you to reduce this bill? Start there, please. We don't like, we'll start losing the word please when we have to start giving them notice or conditionally accepting. But yeah, it doesn't hurt to go down that road. But as I say, if you need anything, we've got plenty of stuff. Plenty of stuff you can do. So yeah, you just don't want them fitting prepayments and all that sort of nonsense.
Stephen's put some comments.
Problem.
Check the room for comments as well. They're quite a sharp lot. And there's options in there from the room there. So I forget the name of the lady you're speaking to. Free woman.
Free woman. Yeah.
Eyes on the prize.
Yeah, I know Steve's been.
That's good, yeah. We got a Facebook group. You go to splspro.com, click on the homepage, blue F. You link and it will take you to the Facebook page. You've got other groups and the world at your feet. I was going to say, can we look at wrapping up soon, because I am tired and I've overcooked my son again. And,
listen, you're in control. You're the governor. I'm your bitch.
No, we're not. We're all equal.
I know. Oh, God.
Talking rubbish, Kevin.
It's also sensible in here.
Talking shies and bless. But yeah,
Mr. Green. Good evening.
Yeah, and we look at there's certain words there and what they say, the account, the bill, the charges, the debt, and how we look at this. If you've just come into this Free Woman, it will be a while to get your head around that, but we can help you. Like I say, Kev's give you his email. We've got public and private areas, and then the comments in the room as well.
For a long goodbye of me. We can't help it. It just happens.
I'd just like to let you know.
Should be done by 2.
The British aren't we so polite? Come on, we're going to get off in 45 minutes. Okay, everybody, strap in, buckle in, bit of turbulence.
Yeah, Steve's had some success with the. There's, as I say, there's lots you can do. Lots you can do. If you don't, the trouble is, if you don't ask, you don't get. And of course, a lot of these places that tell you are only trained to tell you what you're not entitled to, what you are. So you've got to go at the right people with the right attitude. And then, if you don't really get anywhere, or it's a paltry offer, then the boots go on, and the door comes off the hinges. You go, right then. We asked nicely once, and you pissed in my cornflakes. So
I brought me friends.
I've got my friends. I am a party. And we're going to hold you to account. Let's have a look at what you're meant to do. But yeah, basically, they can't cut you off. Well, they can't disconnect you from water, gas, or electricity. Basically,
human rights.
So every home, human rights. And plus, they can't cut you off at all because of your child.
Vulnerability.
No matter of what age. Normally, if it's not, a normal child, a healthy child, sorry if I don't mean that language to be offensive. I didn't mean it like that. I think it's 5 or 6, so anything that or under, then they just can't. But actually, when you look at it, they can't do it at all. So, and I do know of people that have had their meters removed, so there's no connection at all, and they've phoned National Grid and said, electricity companies come and everything's been removed, got no connection, and National Grid have come round and hooked them up, no meters, because it's under the human rights. So they have to come in and make sure the place is connected. Water's easy because they just turn it off in the streets. You let them piss off, you go and turn it back on again. That's no problem. Easily done that. But yeah, they can't. Of course, it's all threats. It's just threats, intimidation. Give us the money, or we'll do X, Y, Z. But ultimately, if you know your rights, there's nothing they can do. So yeah, don't worry too much, or try not to.
Once we notify that you consider yourself as a private, self-governing, I'll leave it there, a conscionable man or woman, then they've got to hear and recognise you. You've got instrumentation. We've got instrumentation. We're using it wrongly. We have an equitable asset we call a signature, but the signature is to give contractual consent, agreement, liability more than anything, not to use to endorse and to discharge. So we have the tool, one of them. You've got the birth certificate, which would be your insurance policy, which would be able to be shown to be the holder in due course of such a financial bonded instrument there, which is attached to bonds, money, bills, etc. We have got an international monetary fund issued as international national insurance number, but that's connected to a slave number now, and that's connected to a pot that pays in. You see, that number is that bank account, and that number, I should say, that's connected to the national insurance number is currently receiving contributions, isn't it, from slave to corporative private, business. What we need to do is, before we go about trying to use these instruments in ways that are considered public, the establishment is seeing everybody assumed and presumed in the public. So you're kind of in the battle and you haven't drawn the truth. So before you leave the battle and you go into the private and you start exercising the right to do X, Y, and Z, it would be custom and practice to go and call the truce of trust and let them know who and where you are, what you require, why you require it, what your belief system is, what you support, and all of this stuff, and then wait for the response from them. So you come out of the battle and you recognise what you've got, and you've got the instruments too, and you understand the monetary mechanics, the duties, the liability, the property, the rights, the titles, to just have a bit of patience further, and then I believe we can obtain what we require quite simply and efficiently with the full support and backing of supreme articles and things. And we found out quite a lot of the governances and the policies and the UCC and the A for V and the bills and the transfers, discharges, public, private, intrinsic, non-intrinsic. So just bear with, and I'm sure by I've put a date on it, the 21st of December, you'll all be ready and in the private or going to. And remember, you are classified by I, and you should yourselves as already private. It's your persons that are public, and you consider the person until you correct that. Like I say, these instruments are all there, and all the technologies are there. It's geared up backwards. So we flip it, reverse it, dissolve and correct, move forward. And if they don't, then maybe we can have a look at ringer poses around the inner city of London, please. If we could, we had how many? 45,000. If we could have got the message out of what we know to them, how do you think they'd deal with our friends the Crown? 45 large. I reckon I could have managed. Me and Kevin, a few could have managed. Quinn, Steve-O, Mia. Could we not have done some work with 45,000 and ring the Crown of London and give them our? Oh my goodness, can you imagine? But instead, we had 45k, and what did they do? They didn't let the Crown know what they thought of them. I tell you that much for now. What they did is something completely different. I'll leave it there. I love you all. I love you lots, but we're wasting the time and resources, let me tell you, wasting it. And you're all chomping at the bit, and we feel that pressure. I yield again.
A nice bit of banter going on in the room. Yeah, night. 3 women. Thanks for popping by. You know we are. Don't let it worry. Enough to worry about, girls. Enough to worry about.
No,
Chill.
there is no debt. It's all lies and deception. There is no debt.
Yeah, don't worry about it. It's all nonsense.
But yeah, we'll say much love, night, and we'll say the goodbye then. Let's call it here if we can, and say thank you,
sweet,
scribes.
mate. Yeah, thank you very much, everybody, for being in the room. Hope you've enjoyed it. Really enjoyed having you all around, like 27 of you. Excellent, thank you very much. Hope you've been entertained. We'll see you next week. Much love to each and every one of you.
Yes, I echo that. Much love. Thank you all. And we'll keep them peeled for your notifications. Some messages I'm going to be about tomorrow and Tuesday. So there is much more to bestow upon thee. And we will see you again. Yeah, I'm happy to say I've messaged Life in the Mix. I'd like to have a hangout podcast with Kev and some other new ones, including Life in the Mix. And yeah, we'll see where we're going with that. We're going to press on. And with the entertainment value for you, don't you worry. We'll try anyway. Hey, Kev.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll do our best.
We've got, what did I read out yesterday? What we've done so far is, I'll have to go off top of my head, but we've looked at last will and testament for you, the power of attorney. We looked at a unilateral non-disclosure agreement, including a fee schedule. We gave you, perhaps not Facebook, but you'll get that over the next 48 hours. But it is on the .com already. The subject access request under the GDPR, also known as a DSAR, the data subject access request. You was formerly that subject, public employee. You are now in the private as man or woman. So you are not the subject of the access request for that data. Do you see? Subjects of the Crown, subject access request. We've also we've done some groundbreaking work with councils in defence of local corporations masquerading as social workers and government agencies that are neither government agency or a social worker. They're an agency and a private corporation. We've also simultaneously, Kevin as well, and I, when I say this, I've done something for somebody who hasn't been paid for 2 years. DWP, you mentioned a bit ago. You will remember we mentioned a while ago that my brain's fried. We said we'd start a class action for possible harm, injury, and loss for the thousands that have had their cases deleted, lost, ignored, and not got monies when you should have got monies for various reasons, failures generally with the agencies there. And there is more to add to that list than that. So we're very busy and we're doing quite a lot. I read to you what I read to you today. That has really bamboozled my brain. And I intend to do not a lot now, except admin for a bit and upload files, get in touch with people via email. So we've done quite a lot. We've put a lot out there for you. The certificates and understandings of, and the inclusio, the Latin, the grammar, the styles. We've gone all out. This year it started off well, and we was happy with the case law that was made and the is it mandatories and the languages, and it's gone from strength to strength. I'm afraid we've got a lot of positive things in the mix, and we have, when I look back on this, we have amalgamated a stronger position than we could have ever imagined. And Kevin said that in his own words with regards to the status, the final document acceptance and so forth for that. So I just want to say thank you and bless. Yeah, we love what we do, Trustafarians, and like I say, I had a look at it yesterday. I did a little list with the .com, and I thought that's not a bad old list. That, so kudos and thank you all, and thank you, Kev and G.
No worries.
Yeah, man.
Pleasure. Much love, everyone.
We are delivering. All right. Much love.
We're trying.
Yeah. We'll see you soon, Butter Moon. Ciao for now. Let's go.
Night all.